Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through the trade targets for this next round, who I really think are good options, etc. As there's actually quite a lot of defenders that you could go for, some of which probably are red flags, but we'll have to go through them. So before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So going into, what is this, round 18 now, you probably will see my side. So I'm going to go to Stats Center, as I think this will be the better view of it. So if we go to L3, with Sicily coming back, he is certainly the number one guy to jump on. I can't get to him in pretty much any way, shape or form without sacrificing a lot on the other end. I mean, I can't get to him with a 200k guy, even with Johnson and Sheldrick. I can't get to him by like something like 50 or 60k, I don't think. Golden, obviously people are gonna want him, but he's already so owned that I don't think needs to be mentioned. 43% owned. Dawson the same at 60% owned. Bont is 24% owned, so if you really needed a guy, but I mean Bont is so expensive that it's going to be tough to get to him. Marshall is like 60. No, he's not. He's 48% owned. Nick Dacos, highly owned. Merritt as well. So I think most people have one of probably Merritt or Bont, and you probably need both, to be honest. Luke Ryan is a guy that I think most people probably won't. Yeah, he's a guy that I think will turn out to be one of those guys that could make or break a lot of these guys' seasons, and has been doing pretty well. So we'll have to wait and see with him what's going on, but I certainly could get on the train of getting him in rounds 22 to 24, as it looks like he should do really well then. Could even do him in rounds 21, but I think I probably won't by that time, as I think I'm pretty set in having these guys in the defense, but I could look at moving Dawson or Dacos into the midfield rotation and putting in Ryan, as I would believe in the last 3 rounds that Ryan would outscore someone like a Tom Green or something like that. That could be an option as well. So if we go to Stat Center again, go to L3, Merritt, Ryan, Rosie, a lot of these guys are had. I think people need to jump on Doherty at this point, as he is a top 6 defender. He will top 6 score for the rest of the way, I think. So I think he's just a must, even at 921k. I think Neil is someone that I need to either target for like Tom Green or something like that, or I need to just let go and just hope that he doesn't do too well, because he's someone that's probably going to ruin what I do, but he's got 2 tough weeks, so I'm looking at that and just hoping that he doesn't do so well, so that I can go past him and then pick him up after I've got Sicily and Butters potentially, or even look at getting him next week or in a couple weeks for the likes of a Darcy Cameron, as I push Dunkley back into that forward rotation, and get Neil as well. Petrarca is someone that I think people are rightfully wary to get at this point. He's 15% owned, and he's got this weird role. Shearer, I would be holding fire at the moment, as I think he's so much of an Uber premium. A pod premium. And I don't know if this is, as we see here, these are 3 easier games. Tough game here. He did score well in this game, but didn't score well. And then, so I would wait another round and then grab him here, because I think here is a good run here, and he could be useful. Then Sinclair is a must. Oliver is still out for another, I don't even know at this point. Viney, I think, is just off the back of that good score, and I think Steele is one that will be grabbed up massively this week, not only because he scored 146, he's gone 104, 87, 146. I think he is right for the picking now, as I think he's through his knee injury, and he almost might play too well that he's out of contention for next year, because he might get himself somehow up towards that 105 sort of range. But then again, he's a guy that could go 120 plus, so a 105 range for Steele next year wouldn't be too bad. Sarong is suspended. Parrish, Noah Anderson. Mitch Duncan, I think, is one guy that we should steer clear of, as he's got an injury record, and some games they just won't kick it around the back, so I wouldn't go for him. If I switch to defenders, because I think defenders is one that we should look at. Luke Ryan, if I didn't talk about, I have already talked about. Wangadi Malira, I think, is a guy that we should steer clear of, just because I think if you discount the fact that he played higher percentage on ground because of the fact that St Kilda were man down, I think you can discredit another 10 or 15 points off that, and that gets him down to around about that 115 marker, and I don't think he's as valuable as people will think. And if we look here as well, he is such a pod, and I don't think he's that good of a scorer to be like a good pod to get. Duncan as well, like I talked about. Atkins, Jaden Hunt, I think, is going to have a stinker of a game here or there, as we see with a 46 against the Swans, but everyone scored badly against the Swans from the Eagles' perspective. May, Quaynor, I think Daniel is an interesting one, but I think he's not good enough to be top 6 of either the forward or the back line, so I don't think he's good enough. Duggan, I would say, is there or thereabouts. But the only problem I have with Duggan is that they're starting to get like Waterman, and I think Hearn might be back sometime soon, and some others are going to be back. So I think his role changes and could easily drop back. But he's been an interesting one this year, and he's gone on runs, so we'll just have to wait and see with him. Heppel, Noble. And we're down to these really guys that aren't going to score too well. And have I talked about anyone here? Did anyone here have a bad round? I don't think Houston is a pick. I think he's too inconsistent. And that's about it for the defenders. If we go to the forwards, Gordon, Rosie, Cornelio, Taranto, Keys. All these guys are like top 6 basically at this point. But we're just going to have to wait and see with Keys, I guess, is the main talking point here. These other guys are pretty set in stone, but a 91 as a low for like 5 rounds or whatever, for 1, 2, 3, for 90, 99, and a 90. So his basement at the moment is still very, very high. So I'd still keep him, as I think he's got a good run, or at least a decent game against GWS. He's got Melbourne, which could be a deal breaker, and also Port. So he's got a tough run here. But if Adelaide want to make finals, they got to win at least one of those games, probably. As I see them losing at least 3, or at least the possibility of losing 3. And I don't think 4 and 3 is going to be tough to get them into the finals. So they might try and put Keys on ball and do that, or have him and Sloan run about 55% each, and cover off Laird and Dawson. Henry, Mackay, I both think they're just too inconsistent. Martin's an interesting one. I think he's just not good enough to be top 6, and with the players coming back from Essendon, I don't think he's there or thereabouts. Martin, Heaney's probably going to be useful next year, as his average is 80, and I think that'll be priced at around 650. Cancel that. So I think he will be a guy next year that will be talked about a little bit, but I also think that he will be will find an option next year, to be honest, in the forward line. Then we move on to, is there anything to talk about with the rucks? Not really, I don't think, as Sean Darcy is still number 3, and this is sort of how I thought it would be. Sean Darcy coming up with a good performance, but that was against an easier matchup, obviously. He's come up against 2 easy matchups with basically no ruckman. Well, I mean, English was still playing against Western Bulldogs, but you got 50 hitouts and a goal to get that score up, whereas English has still done well and hasn't really come up against a matchup where he can just where he can just get a lot of hitouts, and I don't think will come up against a matchup like that, but we'll have to wait and see. I still think those two are the number two best two rucks, and you've got to have them basically. And Sean Darcy is that odd one out that will outscore people some weeks, but I don't think will over the course of the next 7 games do well enough. Then we come up with the midfielders, and yeah, I think Neil, Shearer, I think these, and Oliver are basically the only talking points. I think Sarong is, I think he's going to be really good next year, but I don't think it's the rest of the year this year. I don't think he's going to be of value compared to these other guys. If we look at the fixture stats, as you maybe look at him in the last 3 games, but I wouldn't terribly look at him. I think Parrish, I think he has a good run somewhere. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's got this really good run to end the season, the last 4 games, so you could look at Parrish then. McCluggage, I only think is doing well because of no Dunkley. Tim Kelly is just that guy that's consistently going to put up hundreds, but you're sort of looking for difference makers at this point rather than guys that are going to put up 100s consistently, as he's sort of always within that range. He did put up a 142, but if you take that 142 out, his next top score is a 112, and his low is a 79. But if you take that 79 out, his low is, if I go back here, his low looks to be an 89. So he's an 89 to 112 guy outside of that, which is just so consistent, but not good enough for what I'm looking for at this point. And then, yeah, that's basically the whole video there. So if I go back here, that's the video, and I'll see you guys that's the trade targets, I guess, for round 18. I probably didn't even mention it in the title, but that's the trade targets video for round 18, and I'll see you guys in my predictions and my team preview, which you've probably already half seen, in next week. So thanks, guys, and I'll see you guys later.